Fandoms are a place where you can be excited and passionate about something along with others who feel the exact same way. It feels like you're part of a larger universe, and you're in a group where people want to interact with you and get to know you and are interested in what you think about within the fandom. You can become filled with excessive and single-minded zeal though, which can be equated to a form of worship. Some YouTubers focus exclusively on one franchise and one fandom, and become celebrities within that circle. Speaking from experience here, I'd say fandoms are giant icebreaker events where everyone is there for the exact same reason. It's an environment where, if with a group of people you know and trust, can feel safe, secure, and intoxicating. Working as a vendor and panelist at pop culture conventions as well as niche conventions focusing on one franchise like Star Trek or My Little Pony for example, both fandoms that are infamous for their extreme intoxication, these environments can feel electrified, especially if you yourself are well known in the fandom for your content. But there is a danger of ending up trapped within a fandom, or rather expected to only talk about things relevant to that fandom. And if you dare to break away from that, you're no longer a part of it. Or if that franchise is in a transitional period, say between reiterations for instance, there can be a slump. The tide is out. What to do when the waves are calm? I'm a firm believer in eclecticity, selecting or employing individual elements from a variety of sources. In other words, allowing yourself to enjoy many different forms of entertainment from many different franchises, and permitting yourself to talk about whatever takes your interest in that moment. I can shift from talking about a Disney movie to a Star Trek episode, or a My Little Pony episode to an anime show. It really doesn't matter. This may seem very random and inconsistent, which it is when it comes to content, but I feel that the consistency lies in whether or not it interests me, not if that content is relevant or popular in that moment in time. I have often found myself giving advice to people who ask me, how do I get into the MLP fandom? How can I become an MLP analyst? And my answer is always the same: don't. My point is that I got into talking about MLP content because I began analysing and discussing material that excited me. If you're wanting to get into a fandom to talk about one franchise and you haven't done any analytical material before, it's a very difficult thing to break into, which is why I tell people not to do that. It's also a very difficult thing to break out of if you want to move on from it. Instead, you should talk about something that interests you without having that goal in mind. My channel is primarily about art and animation, but I allow myself to dive into other topics because I don't like the idea of repetition. The danger of being stuck in a rut becomes very real when you only discuss one franchise all the time, chasing after any little tidbit of news about where it's going next. However, if that is where your passion lies, then chase after that, especially if you had that intention the day you made your channel in the first place. For me though, my channel is a place where I can geek out about whatever I want, whenever I want, and for a time, I was utterly consumed by one franchise. I consider MLP to be the vehicle that helped me get to where I am today, but MLP is also simply another show I happen to like. Taking a break from a franchise or a fandom is always seen as leaving it. That's a little over dramatic to me. It's almost like it's seen like you're no longer loyal to the fandom or something. You don't have a duty to a fandom or franchise. What you do have is a duty to ensure that no matter what you create, that your heart is in it. If it's not, or it seems that a fandom loses interest in you because you no longer make content for that franchise they subscribe to you for, then they can move on. You don't have to move on, you can make whatever content you want. It's your YouTube channel. Consumption of a franchise can lead to an obsession that can take over everyday life. Keeping up with the news and trying to remain relevant within a certain fandom can be exhausting. It can become impossible and overwhelming. Fandom is in the service of someone else's creativity rather than your own. And though it is good to celebrate the creativity of others, there's a danger of it nullifying your desire to celebrate your own creativity. Worrying that if you dared to create something that wasn't related to a fandom in some way, that no one would care what you say. Pleasurable leisurely interest can become intense involvement. There's a danger to becoming consumed with a franchise, or to be consumed buy a franchise or a fandom. Of course, this is really what fandom is all about. A franchise is meant to make you care about what happens to the characters within it. If it doesn't do that, then it's not fulfilling its mission. We live through these fictional characters. We have a desire to escape reality, but the problem begins when people spend more time worrying about fiction than they do about improving their own reality. It can become a failure to confront everything that is wrong in life. That terrifies me. But all that implies is that we blame entertainment for our failures, which to me is unfair. Consuming is easy, but can also lead you into living a passive lifestyle. Being an observer or an analyst is not a powerful perch, but the attention you receive by sharing your observations with others can make you feel powerful. Being a part of a fandom allows our observations and opinions to be shared and heard and acknowledged, and that can give us a sense of validation. YouTube especially gives us each a perch to shout from. It allows us to connect to other fans, and we become a part of something far bigger than ourselves. Yeah, it's escapism and perhaps avoidance, but there's also hope and optimism within these communities. There's a sense of camaraderie, a common interest shared between people that bring us together. That is surely a positive thing. I think what I'm getting at is that I'm trying to remain true to myself. I know that sounds incredibly cheesy, but I'm just trying to make sure that no matter what content I create, that I enjoy it, and if other people enjoy it, that's a great byproduct. I do have a service to my fans. I want to give them content that they want, but I also want to make sure that if they want this content, I have to make sure that I want to make it. Otherwise, I'm just spewing out videos for the sake of keeping up with the algorithm, which to me is wrong. I think this is a subject that is discussed to a point, but there's some things that I need to address in my own life when it comes to franchises and fandoms that I am part of, and making sure that I have a balance so that my reality isn't neglected. I hope that other people listening to this will maybe learn a few things from this, or perhaps you have your own insight to share, and maybe that can help other people to understand where they can find that balance. I'm Mad Munchkin, stay creative. Hey guys, thanks for making it to the end of this video. Just want to give a quick shout out to my Patreon supporters. This month it includes Tilden Nigwani, I hope I said your name right, Rainbow Dash Fan, Tevin T. Jering, Risky Dragon, OLD, Seeker, Sanjay DK, DELC 17, Transformer Brett, Invisible Gust, Picademus, CT Stormwing, CT 0798, Mayan Jinx, Tristan N. Milner, Patronators, Kick It 6, Nuki's The Name, The Wicked Merman, Frustrated Cartoons, Alex Hunter, Rongar, Unknown 620, Charles Meeker, Seth Richards, Aces Wild, Mystic Mind, J-Rog 1989, Meg the Pict, Rocky Harmony, and Pedro Lopez. All of you guys will have received an invite to join my Discord server amongst other Patreon rewards. So if you're watching, want to support this channel and join my Discord server, find out how in the description below. Thank you so much for the support.